All right, Kyler, thank you. Well, trial is underway in a second attempt to send Christopher Clements to prison in the kidnapping and killing of 6-year-old Isabel Celis.
A jury could not agree on a verdict in a trial last year. The disappearance gripped our community when it happened 12 years ago. KGUN 9's Craig Smith covered the case then and has covered it ever since.
He's live at the Superior Court with more on today's action. Craig?
Well, the prosecution opens its case working to paint Christopher Clements as a man who had a particular interest in young girls and whose cell phone tracking put him near the location where Isabel Celis' remains were found on the night she disappeared. Now, the defense was working to inject doubt in all this and even went so far as to suggest that Isabel Celis' father, Sergio, might have been the person who led an intruder into the house. Prosecutor Tracy Miller put a smiling picture of Isabel Celis on the courtroom screen as she made her opening statement. Then the prosecutor went on to describe how 5 years after the girl disappeared, Christopher Clements led investigators to the fragments of the 6-year-old girl's skeleton 5 years after her disappearance, all because Clements was trying to cut a deal to get some burglary charges dropped. He told investigators he did not kill the girl. He simply knew her remains were in the remote area off Avra Valley and Trico Roads. Any pictures of Clements are from earlier court hearings. Cameras are forbidden in this trial. Clements became a suspect in the Celis case after he was linked to the remains of 13-year-old Maribel Gonzalez. Her remains were left nearby. Clements is serving a life term in that girl's murder, but jurors will not be told about Clements' conviction in that case. Prosecutors say on the night Isabel Celis disappeared, cell phone tracking put Clements' phone near where the remains were. They also described a secret locked folder on his iPad that showed collections of young girls and evidence that he had searched for the term Isabel Celis sexy and the term trace evidence on body. Defense attorney Eric Kessler worked to raise doubts about Isabel's father, Sergio. He said Sergio seemed far too calm when he found his daughter missing from their house. Kessler focused on the mystery of how the girl could be removed from the house without the entire family and several bark-prone dogs alerting anyone. For a time, police did regard Sergio Celis as a suspect in his daughter's disappearance, but never charged him. Now, to try to dispel those doubts, the prosecution called Sergio Celis as the first witness. And in terms of how he seemed weirdly too calm as he called 911 on the day of the disappearance, he explained that he was trained in emergency medicine and was trained to work very hard to keep calm and collected in an emergency.
Craig, you've been following this case from the very beginning. You've also been in the courtroom all day long. Can you talk about some of the emotions that have been felt in the courtroom in this case?
Well, part of the testimony with Sergio Celis included showing a 50-minute video where he led police through the house and reenacted his actions on the day of the disappearance. Now, I spent more time watching Sergio than I spent watching that actual video. And when he gets to the part where he's racing about the house trying to find his daughter, I was watching him very closely, and he had the demeanor of a man who's trying to hold it together and not quite succeeding. He looked very stoic. You could see his eyebrows knit up, and you could see him breathe heavily and sigh as if he's struggling for control.
All right, Craig, thank you very much, and we'll continue to follow the case. I know Craig will as well.